Okay, how to stay down and compress the ball like the pros. I got a two-part drill for you today that I freaking love that I want you to try. It's really gonna help you. And there's a couple of pieces to this that are really important. The first thing, if you're someone during the downswing who struggles with standing up too much, you don't get that compression, you have bad contact and inconsistent, and you've been trying to stay down and get good rotation and tilts, and you're just not able to do it, I would be willing to bet at least 9 times out of 10 from students that I see who say that, they do not deliver the club correctly earlier to be able to stay down later. So you're trying to fix a symptom of the problem later without fixing the root earlier. Now I'm going to show you how to fix that symptom with the second part of the drill, but you absolutely must get the club delivered from inside with a reasonably square club face to be able to have your brain stay down. And that's where this drill comes into play. This drill is designed for you to learn how to get the club and arms from inside without you having to change anything with your body motions. I see all the time players who get too steep or out of position, and they learn how to get the club from inside, but they do it from standing up, from tilting too much, things that cause contact issues. This drill is designed for you to have plenty of room to learn to get the club from inside without changing any of those body positions so that we can work through the ball correctly. And we call this the right foot back or closed stance drill that I want you to do. Now I've got an 8-iron. I would do this with like a 9/8 or 7-iron. I want you to take your normal setup position. I've got a club on the ground here for reference. These are just for the cameras, don't worry about those. But this is a club for reference. I want this basically down your toe line. If the ball's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, about 3 o'clock, okay? And the first thing I want you to realize when I have this set up and you have this set up is how far back the foot's gonna get pulled. I want you to pull your right foot back a good several inches. I mean, I've got this about 2 club heads inside of that club on the ground. And the reason I wanna pull the foot back is ultimately so that I can get the hip back. Stay with me now. What's a really bad downswing look like in terms of the body motions? The right hip goes where? If I'm standing up, the right hip goes in towards the ball and the head and chest go up and back. Would you agree? Bad is the hip in, head and chest up and back, which means good is the opposite. Good, instead of the hip going in, is the hip staying back. If my right hip stays back, I can stay in posture. If bad is the head and shoulder going up and back, good is the head and shoulder going where? Down and forward. So this is all about you learning to stay down and compress it by getting the trail hip back and getting the trail, let's say chest and shoulder down and forward. Now the easiest way to get the trail hip back is to have the foot back. Now we're gonna work this as a drill. You might end up finding this, you hit it better this way or finding somewhere in between, which is fine. But normal setup, we're gonna pull the foot back. Again, I've got about 2 clubs inside of the normal club here like this. And what I want you to do is make a backswing and feel this trail hip get about as far back as you can get it, you know, without your body going way back with it. But you want to feel the trail hip push back. Now, what I've done here is I've created room. I did some videos with this with Trevor Salzman, with Rick Smith, with Steve Saraki, various ways to do this drill, all, right, we've been doing for a long time to accomplish the same thing, to give you space to get the club to work from inside without having to change the body motions. Foot's back, feel the trail hip go back, and look at all this space I have to deliver the club. I've got a ton of room to get the club from inside, which brings us to our second reason the club's on the ground. From my player visual, and when you do this drill, I really want you to feel like the club stays just inside that club. So this club up here is inside the 3 o'clock club. It can be just on it or just inside of it. So the first thing I want you to do is this, especially if you're someone who hits the pulls and the slices as a drill, normal setup, foot's going back a couple of inches. I don't mind if your shoulders get a little close with it. They don't have to. Stay pretty square. I'm gonna have the ball stay pretty much in the same position. The foot's gonna go back, push the hip back, feel the club work from inside. I'm looking for a ball here to start a little more right and curve a little bit more left. Foot's back, push the hip back, and create room for the arms. Now my normal ball flight's probably like a 5-yard draw. That was like a 15-yard draw. Okay, so if you're someone like me who already draws the ball, you don't need to do this part as exaggerated. You're gonna have to focus on the second part. But what, 80, 90% of people I see get too far out here, hit some combination of pull and fade. So you really wanna live in this first territory for a while. Normal setup, right foot gets pulled back, feel the hip push way back. I've got so much room to get the arms to swing from inside. I don't have to early extend to shallow it. I don't have to tilt to shallow it. I can keep my same inclination in the ground. Foot back, push the hip back, arms are from inside. A little bit more of a push draw here. And there's the same thing, probably about a 10-yard draw compared to normal. And again, I'm telling you, if you're someone who pulls it or you hit the slices, don't be shy about staying here for a while. But the second piece of this that I really like is once I've got the club delivered from inside, now I can focus on the good body motions, which what we said are what? The chest and shoulder, down and forward. Remember the bad, right? What are we looking to get rid of if you don't stay over the ball and compress it? The bad body motions are the hip going where? Hip goes in, head and chest go up and back, right? There's our coming out of it. What we want to feel is as that hip stays back, where do the head and chest and right shoulder go? Down and forward. And if I've got the club delivered nicely from inside, now I can have that work, get that shoulder and chest forward to get that low point forward. This will be the piece for you to, if you already hit the draw, this will take some of the draw off, okay? So I'm gonna feel the same things. Setup position, foot goes back, right hip pushes back, and now I'm gonna feel like my right shoulder, even if we use this here, I'll bring this in so you can see this. If I put this in line with the golf ball, what I'm really feeling is the club's from inside, and then I'm feeling like I'm getting the shoulder at or past that golf ball line. Really making sure that trail side goes down and through. Foot's back a few inches, push the right hip back, head and shoulder go down and forward. And when you combine those together like that, I've been waiting in today's shoot to do those two together because that's as good as I hit a ball. When I do this drill for me too, I tend to get a little bit, too far in and out and hit pushes and hooks. So if you're in that 10 or 20% that has that, you really want to focus on the second piece. If you're in the pull and fade, you got to get the club from inside first. Make sure the club is in a reasonable spot and the face is in a reasonable spot. Anytime you get too steep and out here, your brain's automatically going to stand up, stall, and try and fix it. There's just no sense in doing that stuff later until you fix it earlier. You got to deliver the club on or inside 3. Make sure the toe's at least on top of the heel, if not slightly inside of that. But if you're looking to compress your irons, I mean, what a good drill. Foot gets pulled back, and this is an old one. Again, like I said, I've done various forms of this with multiple people already. Hip stays back, chest and shoulder forward. But I just wanted to give you guys this in a 2-part form. Foot goes back, push the right hip back, deliver it from inside. Chest and shoulder gets past the ball on the ground. And there's another one. I mean, those are as compressed as I can do it. And because my hips staying back, because the club's from inside, it gives me, the ability to be able to feel that. I like that sensation. I'll do one more. And I'm doing this with an 8-iron, but you would do this certainly anytime the ball's on the ground, right? So same thing, one more. Foot's back. Push the hip back, keep the hip back, get the club from inside, face is square. And then I really want to get that trail shoulder and chest down and forward. Foot back, hip back, trail shoulder down and forward. That is just so solid for me. So key points here, right? I repeat myself about 100 times on purpose, but in case you missed them, okay? You have to get the club in a good spot. You have to get the club working from inside with the face in a reasonable spot, or else your body's always going to react by fixing it and standing up. Once you have the club from inside, by having your trail foot back and creating room. The club's always going to go where there's room to go. Okay, so give it room to go there. Then you can do the motions through the ball, what you want to do, the chest and the shoulder down and forward, but you must do those in order. Any questions on this, as always, leave a comment down below. If you like this, click that little gray like button, helps us out. Maybe consider sharing it with a friend. And again, any questions down below. Appreciate you guys watching.